that says it's going to take you 30 minutes or 3 days or 30 days. I think it's more a matter of you being in alignment with the universe itself.
Size it's nothing to the universe. It is no more difficult to attract on a scientific level something that we consider huge to something that we consider infinitesimally small. The universe does everything it does with zero effort. Grass doesn't strain to grow. It's effortless. It's just this great design. It's all about what's going on up here. It's about what we put in place, saying this is big, it's going to take some time. This is small, oh, I'll give it an hour. You know, those are our rules that we define. There are no rules according to the universe. You provide the feelings of having it now, it will respond. Some people have an easier time with little things, and so we sometimes say, well, start with something small, like a cup of coffee. Make it your intention to attract a cup of coffee today.
Hold an image of talking to an old friend that you haven't seen for a long time. Somehow or another, somebody's going to start talking to you about that person. That person's going to phone you, or you'll get a letter from them.
People are amazed how that I line up car parks, and I've done this right from when I first understood The Secret. I would visualize a car space exactly where I want it, and 95% of the time it would be there for me, and I'd just pull straight in. 5% of the time I'd have to wait just a minute or two, and the person would pull out and I'd pull in. So I do that all the time.
A lot of people feel stuck or in prison or confined by their current circumstances. And I'm trying to point out that whatever your circumstances right now, that is only your current reality. And current reality will begin to change as a result of watching this and beginning to use The Secret.
But sometimes it feels like you're stuck because you continue to think the same thoughts over and over again. And so you tend to get the same results over and over again. And the reason is because most people offer the majority of their thought in response to what they are observing. You see, if you're just looking at what is, then you're just thinking about what is. And when you think about what is, law of attraction gives you more of it. And then if you just observe what is, then you're just thinking about what is. And law of attraction gives you more of what is. And then if you just observe what, we've been over this, haven't we? You have to find a way that you are approaching what is through a different vantage point.
Most people look at their current state of affairs and they say, this is who I am. That's not who you are. That's who you were. You see, if you look at your current state of affairs right now, let's say, for instance, that you don't have a lot of money in your bank account, or you don't have the relationship that you want, or your health and fitness isn't up to par. That's not who you are. That's the residual outcome of your past thoughts and actions. So we're constantly living in this residual, if you will, of the thoughts and the actions we've taken in the past. When you look at your current state of affairs and define yourself by that, then you doom yourself to have nothing more than the same in the future.
All that we are is the result we have thought.
Okay, what can you do right now to begin to turn your life around? I'll tell you 2 or 3 things. Start making a list of things to be grateful for. Start with that, because this shifts your energy. It starts to shift your thinking. Where before this exercise, you might be focusing on what you don't have, and you might be focusing on your complaints, and you might be focusing on whatever the problems are. When you do this exercise, you start to go in a different direction. You start to be grateful for all the things that you feel good about.
Gratitude is absolutely the way to bring more into your life.
Every man knows that when his wife's appreciating him for the little things he does, what does he want to do? He wants to do more. It's always about appreciation. It pulls things in. It attracts support.
I've said for many years that whatever we think about and thank about, we bring about.
Because that's that feeling that you have to have, you know. And so for me, it's been such a powerful exercise every morning to get up and say thank you. Every morning when my feet hit the floor, thank you. And then I start running through what I'm grateful for as I'm going to brush my teeth and do the things I do in the morning. And I'm not just thinking about them and doing some rote routine, but I'm putting it out there and I'm feeling the feelings of gratitude.
Because as soon as you start to feel differently about what you already have, you will start to attract more of the good things, more of the things you can be grateful for. Because you can look around and say, well, look, I don't have the car I want, I don't have the house I want, I don't have the health I want, I don't have the spouse I want. Oh, back up, back up. Those are all the things you don't want. Focus on what you already have that you're grateful for. And it might be you have the eyes to watch this. It might be the clothes that you have. Yes, you might prefer something else, and you might get something else pretty soon if you start feeling grateful for what you have.
I think everybody goes through times when they say, oh man, things aren't working right, or things are going bad, and there were some things going on in my family, and I found a rock. I was just sitting here holding this rock. You might see me carrying around. I found a rock. I stuck it in my pocket, and I said, you know what? Every time I touch this rock, I'm going to think of something that I'm grateful for. And so every morning when I get up in the morning, I pick it up off the dresser, I put it in my pocket, and I go through the things that I'm grateful for. At night, what do? You empty your pocket, and there it is again. And I've had some different experiences with that. I've had some amazing experiences. I had a guy from South Africa, and he saw me drop it. He said, what is that?
Well, what's that?
I explained it to him, so he started calling it a gratitude rock.
Gratitude rock.
2 weeks later, I got an email from him, from South Africa. And he said, my son is dying from a rare disease. It's a type of hepatitis. He said, would you send me 3 gratitude rocks? Now, they're just rocks I found off the street, you know? So I said, sure. I had to make sure that the rocks were very special. And so I went out to the stream, looked, picked out the right rocks, and sent them off to him. 4 or 5 months later, I get an email from him. He said, my son's better. He's doing terrific. And he said, but you need to know something. He says, we've sold over 1,000 rocks at $10 a piece as gratitude rocks, and we've raised all this money for charity. Thank you very much. And so it's very important to be in an attitude of gratitude, as I call it.
Another thing that I would suggest that you do right now to turn your life around, and this is so huge that I can't find the words to describe just how powerful this can be for you.
I took the visualization process from the Apollo program and instituted it during the 1980s and 90s into the Olympic program. And it was called Visual Motor Rehearsal. When you visualize, then you materialize. And the interesting thing about the mind is we took Olympic athletes and then hooked them up to sophisticated biofeedback equipment and had them run their event only in their mind. Incredibly, the same muscles fired in the same sequence when they were running the race in their mind as when they were running it on the track. How could this be? Because the mind can't distinguish whether you're really doing it or whether it's just a practice. I think if you've been there in the mind, you'll go there in the body.
When you're visualizing, when you've got that picture playing out in your mind, always and only dwell upon the end result. Here's an example. Look at the back of your hands right now. Really, look at the back of your hands. The color of your skin, the freckles, the blood vessels, the rings, the fingernails, the fake fingernails. Take in all those details right before you close your eyes. And then see those hands, your fingers, wrapping around the steering wheel of your brand new car.
This is such a holographic experience, so real in this moment, that you don't even feel like you need the car because it feels like you already have it.
It's the feeling that really creates the attraction, not just the picture or the thought. And I think for a lot of people, they think, well, if I think positive thoughts, or if I visualize having what I want, that'll be enough. But if you're doing that and still not feeling abundant or feeling, loving and joyful, then it doesn't, from my mind, really create the power of the attraction.
This is where the secret actually moves into action.
You put yourself in the feeling place of really being in that car, not, oh, I wish I could get that car, or someday I'll have that car, because that's a very definite feeling associated with that. It's not in the now, it's not, it's in the future. If you stay in that feeling, it will always be in the future.
Feel the joy, feel the happiness, no matter how silly it seems in that dark and quiet room, and you're going, woohoo! Do it! A lot of people will say, you know, come on, do I have to do that? How bad do you want change?
Now that feeling and that inner seeing will begin to be an open doorway through which the power of the universe will begin to express.
What power I cannot say. All I know is that it exists.
Our job is not to figure out the how. The how will show up out of the commitment and the belief in the what.
The hows are the domain of the universe. It always knows the shortest, quickest, fastest, most harmonious way between you and your dream.
If you turn it over to the universe, you will be surprised and dazzled by what is delivered to you. This is where magic and miracles happen. Well, I would say you want to do this virtually daily, but my disclaimer is this should never be a chore. What's really bottom line importance here to the whole secret is feeling good. You want to feel exhilarated by this whole process. You want to be high, happy, in tune as much as possible.
The only difference between people who really are living this way and people who aren't, living in the magic of life, is that the people who are living in the magic of life have habituated ways of being. They have habituated this process, and magic happens with them wherever they go, because they remember it and they do it all the time, not as a one-time event.
People hold that for a while, and they're really a champion at it. And they say, you know what, I'm fired up, I saw this program, and I'm gonna change my life. And yet, you know, results aren't showing, and beneath the surface, it's just about ready to break through. And someone will look at the surface results and go, this stuff doesn't work. And you know what? The universe says, your wish is my command. And it goes down.
You know, knowing the law of attraction, I wanted to really put it to use and to see if it was, what would happen. And in 1995, I started to create something called a vision board, where I take something that I would want to achieve, or something that I want to attract, like a car or a watch or the soulmate of my dreams, and I'd put a picture of what I wanted up on this board called the vision board. And every day I would sit in my office and I would look up at this board and I would start to visualize. I would really get into the state of having already acquired it. And I was getting ready to move as we put all the furniture, all the boxes put into storage. And I made 3 different moves over a period of 5 years. And then I ended up in California and bought this house, renovated it for a year, and then had all the stuff brought from my former home 5 years earlier. One morning, about 7:30 in the morning, my son comes into my office, and one of the boxes that was sealed for 5 years was right at the doorstep. And my son, Keenan, was sitting on the box, banging away at the box, and I said, sweetheart, will you please stop me? I'm doing some work here. And he says,
what's in the boxes, Daddy?
And I said, well, honey, those are my vision boards.
What's a vision board?
I said, well, it's where I put all my goals up. I cut them out and I put all my goals up as something that I want to achieve in my life. And of course, at 5.5 years old, he didn't understand it. So I said, sweetie, let me just show you, because that'll be the easiest way to do it. And so I cut the box open. And when I pulled up the vision boards, there was a picture on there of a home that I was visualizing 5 years earlier. And what was shocking to me was we were living in that house, not a house like it. I had bought my dream home, renovated it, and didn't even know it. But I looked at that house, I started to cry because I was just blown away.
Why are you crying?
Honey, I finally understand how the law of attraction works. I finally understand the power of visualization. I finally understand everything that I've read, everything that I've worked with my whole life, the way I've built companies. It worked for my home as well. And I bought our dream home and didn't even know it.
Decide what you want, believe you can have it, believe you deserve it, and believe it's possible for you. And then close your eyes every day for several minutes and visualize having what you already want and feeling the feelings of already having it. Come out of that and focus on what you're grateful for already. And really enjoy it, okay? And then go into your day and release it to the universe and trust that the universe will figure out how to manifest it. No, The Secret was definitely a real transformation for me because I grew up in a family where my dad was